What's up, guys? Welcome straight from the chest. My name is Justin Groth. Guys, thank you for giving me your listening ear. Thank you if you're viewing me live right now on YouTube, listening to me through Stitcher Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, what have you. It means a lot to me that you actually listen to me, that you actually pay attention. Well, I don't know if you do or not. Maybe you just have me as background noise. And even if you're doing that, I'm thankful because there might be a word or phrase you catch and that might stick with you and it might maybe alter your perception of something that you are struggling with. Anyways, I'm grateful for you either way. So recently I have came across a new YouTuber, and just like when you're addicted to Netflix, you find a new show, a new series, and you get excited because it's something new, and you're like, oh, yes, they just posted a new video. I'm gonna check it out, right? And I'm very meticulous with who I follow on YouTube. I don't just follow anybody. I don't subscribe to a lot of particular channels. And mainly because I don't want an influx of videos on my notification list every day. And I just subscribe to people that I know I'm going to listen to consistently. And so there's this guy that I started listening to, and he's sort of a supplement chemist, and he breaks down different stacks of steroids that people are doing, and it's just very, very compelling to hear him break these things down and even give his input on what he thinks certain people are taking. And then he started doing videos, and this is what really, the clickbait is what got me. And I think this is the thing that led me into his videos in the first place. So when he would do natty or not videos. Now for those who are unfamiliar with bodybuilding terms, natty means natural, or in other words, off of any kind of performance enhancing drugs or PEDs. And so when they do a natty or not, it means essentially, is this person natural or not? Meaning they do steroids. And the natty or not videos are super compelling and interesting because a lot of these people that boast on YouTube or Instagram their bodies and say that they're natural, with the trained eye, you can tell that they're not. I mean, even with the best of the best of genetics, or they have elite genetics, even with that, you go back in their history and you see how, what they looked like when they were 14 and then, relative to when they started to actually lift weights, and then, the upward progression, and then now they're still gaining muscle even when they're, into their 30s and 40s. It's like, we know as natural, you have a genetic potential, you have a governor, you only gain a certain amount of muscle, and that's it. And it doesn't matter how hard you train, doesn't matter what you do, you're not going to gain any more lean contractile tissue other than the 30 to 40 pounds, give or take. Generally, it's around the 30, 35 pound mark naturally. So when these guys are boasting that, they went from, a scrawny 170 to a lean 215 and they're 5'10", if you're in the bodybuilding type of community and you understand these principles with regards to height and weight distribution, you know that that's just ridiculous. Okay, so these people they're imposters, man, and they think that they can run this whole narrative by you that is, if it aligns with what they do work ethic wise, it must be conceivable that they can gain this kind of muscle or have this kind of body. And it's just not true. So when these guys do natty or nots, they're breaking these things down. Anyways, very, very, very interesting. And a lot of people are doing natty or not videos. So I came across another guy that does natty or not videos. And this guy is even more entertaining and he adds a level of I don't know if it's an act. It might just be him. There's probably a couple of things that intertwine to make his video so compelling. I think that, or interesting rather, not compelling. It's one, because he delivers a type of authenticity that it's either a crazy act or it's just the way that he is. And I can't really discern what it is. I would gather that it's probably a little bit of both, but it's more predominantly authenticity from a native sense. I think it's really who he is. And the way he comes out and really illustrates things is just like, it's entertaining, it's funny, but at the same time it's educational. And the thing that I'm trying to illustrate here is there are a lot of fake people out there. There are a lot of fake people in posing like they can give you the best of advice. They can give you the best knowledge. They can give you the best secret. They can give you the best avenue. All these people out there that do that, and they actually lure you in with like clickbait and shit like that. And you have to be able to discern with who's an imposter and who's authentic. And there's a lot of influencers out there that are on Instagram that are really boasting these same types of principles. And if you don't have discernment, then you're going to probably end up following somebody or being led by somebody that doesn't have your best interest at heart, or doesn't really care about who you are, doesn't really care about you progressing, doesn't really care about giving you quality information, or really just teaching you, because that's essentially what influencers do. Like they're essentially guiding you, or they're leading by example. They're leaders. They're supposed to be leaders. A leader is an influencer. An influencer, they're analogous. But at the same time, there's a lot of people that try to be influencers and it's not working for you. You know how you come into influencing? You're a fucking leader to begin with. That's how you come into influencing. It comes by default from you being who you are, from an authentic stance. Not trying to be somebody else or trying to be somebody you're not. It's called a poser. And there's a big, big difference. And just because you want a social media following, just because you want popularity, I get it. Look, we all do. But at what expense are you willing to pay for the price, or I'm sorry, what price are you willing to pay at the expense of your own integrity, your own nobility, your own honor? I mean, to some degree, you're abdicating some of those core elements or core values that you should have otherwise. And you're erasing essentially who you are from a vulnerable and transparent, authentic place. And I don't think that's worth any title. Influencer, not. Like, that's not worth any title. It's much more imperative for you to bring out exactly who you are and create your audience in the process. And trust me, there is an audience for everything. There's an audience for everything. You'll create your audience, but you gotta be true to who you are at the core. That means really contending or arguing with yourself daily, as I do it. I argue with myself about what I am. And the reason why I talk about this stuff is not because I'm trying to talk at you or teach you something. I'm talking with you because this is who I am. This is who I am. I'm arguing with myself daily. And you know the reason why I argue with myself? Because I want to be good. I want to give my best, but I also, and because I'm Christian, I want to fit into a mold per se. And I want that mold to be the mold of what God wants for me. But and I know I lost you if you're not Christian, but that's okay. Just keep listening. Because even if you're atheist or you're agnostic or whatever, this can serve you. I'm trying to piece together and extract what elements, what core components make me up. But I'm also doing it at the expense of looking at a depiction of what is supposed to be, I think, the great man. And that's what the Bible teaches us in terms of its lessons. So I want to go by that, but I have a hard time because it's not really what feels good in me. And I'm not talking about the sense of like, being evil and malevolent and just doing things because it feels good and I'm giving into that nature of the beast. No, I'm talking about, for example, if I say something and I cuss while I say it, sometimes I like to do that because it's emphasizing a point. And if I were to not say the curse word on top of it, maybe it wouldn't hit you as hard. Or maybe it would. I don't know. I don't care. My job is to be what I am and what feels right to me. And I don't think I'm a bad person because I curse a little bit. You may. That's fine. Tony Robbins cusses a lot. Steve Harvey cusses a lot. They're Christians. Now look, I'm not trying to put myself in their shoes and say, well, because they do it, I can do it. No. But I'm telling you, I'm giving you examples of people that are very, very influential, or not just influential, take that part away from them. They're good people at the heart. They're good people. You can see that. You don't have to be a psychologist to understand that, look, if you look at Steve Harvey in his eyes, and you look at what he does and his accomplishments, he's a good-natured human being. The same for Tony Robbins. I'm just giving you examples here. I'm not telling you that I'm trying to be like these people. But what I'm trying to express here is that there may be elements to you that you argue with because it doesn't fit a mold of what, let's say, your mom or your dad had for you. Or let's say what you feel God has for you. And if it hits you from at a visceral point, meaning in your gut, if it hits you at your gut and it says, and your gut's telling you, dude, don't do that, or don't be that way, or girl, don't be that way, then listen to that. But if you hear crickets, or if it feels good, then I think you should go with that. I've tried to be a specific way, because of maybe an outline that I'm trying to follow that's depictive of what I feel it says what it says in the Bible. Some of those things fit me, some do not. But I know it in my heart, I know it the gut, at the visceral level. I'm the human being that I'm supposed to be. I feel good. I still feel pure. Now, I'm not going to be the purest that I could be, but honestly, I don't think God created me with the wiring and the chemistry to be that. Because if I were, I don't think I would be as charismatic as I am. I don't think that I would have the kind of zeal that I have. I don't think that I would come across and be as illustrative as I am. I don't feel I'd be that way. And so if I don't argue with these things and actually come to a solution, and be in a position to say, I'm doing this, I'm not going to do this. If I don't have those arguments with myself, I'm not going to find out who the fuck I am. Just like you're not. You will not find out who you are. You'll constantly you're going to constantly try to fit yourself in this fucking mold, and it's not going to work. It's like fitting a square peg in a round hole. That never works. It's never going to work for you. But if you argue and you fight, contend with what you're supposed to be, and maybe a part of you saying, no, don't do that. Remember, that's bad. That's bad over here. That's not good. And you feel in your heart, like, look, I know who I am. I know what I'm made of. And I know what I'm made of, like I'm strong. You know what you're made of. You know who you are. You know it. You don't have to boast. You don't have to placate. You don't have to pacify others. You know who you are. You know. The problem that you and I have is bringing it out into 1000% authenticity and being okay with who is dismayed by it. That's important. I would argue there's nothing more important, because if you don't captivate yourself with who you are first, dude, you're going to have a horrific time gathering anybody to believe what you're saying and actually take who you are in truth. What's one of the biggest things that relates to you with somebody else? I don't even know you. I can tell you what it is. When you can extract the fact that that person's being raw and real and genuine, even if they're being vulnerable, even if they're admitting to shit in their life that they've done that you don't exactly agree with, you have no other choice but to respect what they're saying, because you know, as a human, that takes a lot of guts and that takes a lot of humility to express. And so by default, you listen, and you not only listen, you're respecting and you're admiring, even if it's not something you agree with. If you're an adult, you do that. If you're a child, I don't know, I don't know. I'm not speaking to children here. I'm speaking to adults. It's so important. And I'm dealing with that like I think you're probably dealing with that on a daily basis. In fact, I just had a conversation with my friend today about it. And this guy I can't even bring into words what kind of a voice he's been for me, because he is one that there are people that are going to believe in you and tell you they believe in you, but there's caveats that come along with them. With this person, there's no caveats. There's none of that. There's no buts. It's like having your mom or your dad believe in you. In fact, sometimes your mom or your dad might have buts. But you can tell this person is being genuine. And this person means what they say. And they have no agenda. There is no benefit to them telling you something. Like, it doesn't serve them any other way. You know, they're telling you because it's brought to them by God. They're telling them, it's almost like they're speaking from God. And that's something you can't put a price on that. All you can do is reflect on it and take it in. And this person tells me these things, and it's just filling me up, and they don't know what they're doing to me. It's one person. It's one. But sometimes all you need is that one. And that one, you mix that one person giving you drive. Now, I'm not saying there aren't more people giving me drive, because there are. But you take a one person authentic stance, has nothing to gain from it, and you don't discount them because of where they're at in life or what they have going for them. It doesn't matter. Because their words are so real, raw, genuine, no agenda behind them, you can't help but just absorb it. And there's something that happens when you absorb it. It reaffirms where you're at. And you need to understand that if you don't know where you're You're going to constantly be looking. And if you're constantly looking, you're constantly trying to navigate around that look, meaning, do I do this over here? Am I like this? Do I have to be like this for this kind of audience? Or do I have to be like this for this person to like me? At some point, you have to throw your hands up and say, I don't want to do this for you. I'm doing it for myself. Because that's the only reason why I'm even doing this in the first place. If you don't like it, that's fine. I understand. But you got to understand too, you're going to carve your own audience, man. You're going to carve your audience out no matter what. There is going to be a path for you, but the important thing to remember in your path is that you don't deviate from who you are at the core. That's so fundamentally profound. I can't even describe it. You have to. You may be a shithead to somebody else, but you may be a savior to someone. Let me say that again. You may be a shithead to someone, but you may be a savior to someone else. It's all relative at the end of the day. And you have to understand that if you're not taking the path towards your core construct, you're missing out on a lot. You're missing out on freedom, on liberation. Those are massive. And the reason why I'm talking about them is because I'm going through it. I don't have any of this shit down. I don't know anything. I'm a fucking moron when it comes down to it with most things. But there are a few things that I'm really, really, really fucking good at. I know this. And I know you know this about yourself. It's important to not be jaded by what others may want out of you. It's important to not tell people what they want to hear, but rather what they need to hear. It's important for you to develop what God has inculcated you with, what He's infused in you. It's buried probably, but it's more important for you to argue with yourself than to die having never argued at all. Because when you argue, you find shit out. You find out about yourself. You find out what makes you actually ignited. What makes you breathe. And you know you have something when people do deflect against you. Not in a bad way. But everybody is not going to see you as the way you see yourself. You're not going to be everybody's spice. But like I said, there's a few people that God is trying to create you for, develop your character for, that's going to end up being their saving grace. And it's up to you to develop yourself so you can be that person. Otherwise, you're just a copycat. Otherwise, you're just fitting into a mold. It's fine to fit into a mold, but make sure that mold is individualized to you. It's easier said than done. But if you're not arguing with yourself right now, and if you're not contending with what that is, you're just another day behind. Done.